We will have more on the heat in just a moment, but first we want to get right to a developing story. The Syracuse Fire Department holding a press briefing this morning, releasing new information about yesterday's house collapse on Carbon Street in Syracuse. Here's what we know right now. The 12 people injured range in age from just 8 months old to 42 years old. Of those injured, 1 was not admitted to the hospital. 8 are listed as stable, 3 as critically stable, including the 8-month-old. It happened just around 4 yesterday afternoon on Carbon Street, not far from Butternut Street. Let's get right to News Channel 9's Andrew Donovan, who's live at the scene. And Andrew, what else are you learning today?
Rachel, I want to underscore the ages of the victims who are most seriously hurt. 3-year-old who lived here, a 2-year-old, and an 8-month-old who were visiting here. Those are the people most seriously injured. They're in a term called critically stable, which the fire department says could mean that they're not getting any worse, which is certainly good news. 12 people are in the hospital, as you said. A 13th was able to get out okay. In the last minute or so, we've seen a backhoe pull up the driveway of the house where the house used to stand and is now starting what I imagine to be the planned demolition. Once fire investigators and police detectives got the evidence they needed, the city had a crew standing by to begin demolishing the wreckage, demolishing the pile. This rig pulled up just in the past 2 minutes from the road where it was sitting all morning. So that seems to be what's developing as we speak. It seems that perhaps police and fire are nearing some sort of investigation. Overnight, dogs were used to make sure that no one was inside. No additional victims were found. The 13 people who were here, 7 of whom lived here, 6 of whom were visiting, all got out and got to the hospital if they needed treatment. We now have new information about the car that a lot of neighbors were talking about yesterday. Fire investigators don't believe the car was involved in terms of a cause for the explosion. They believe the car had already been here. They say they are not ruling anything out, last I spoke with them, but in terms of a working theory, they don't think the car was involved. We know National Grid has been here working to figure out if any damage to utilities happened because of the explosion or collapse, or if perhaps any utilities were part of the explosion. I spoke with the fire public information officer earlier this morning who talked about how they're reaching out to victims to try to figure out what happened.
Our fire department investigators and Syracuse police investigators have been working diligently through the incident yesterday, through the day today, to communicate with the victims that are able to communicate, to try and get as much information as we can about what happened. Again, this is a very slow, methodical process. We want to make sure we have as much information as we can to make the determinations that we need to make, and a big part of that is speaking with the people that were involved.
We know that fire and police leaders are about to get together to brief one another. That was scheduled for noon, could happen really any second now. And at that point, they will then discuss what their morning results are, what both teams have come to in terms of an investigation to see if anything can be ruled out in terms of a cause to help narrow down the actual cause. We'll continue to ask them questions about what they're learning and have the latest for you all day on localsyr.com, but of course, News Channel 9 first at 4. Rachel?